amazing Kate Casey.
Welcome back for another episode of Reality Life with Kate Casey, and I've got a great episode for you today. Terrell Riley, producer of the brand new Hard Knocks installment, Hard Knocks in Season with the NFC East on HBO and Max, is my guest. If you're watching this series, you already know it's giving us something that we've never had before, an all-access look inside one of the most intense divisions in football. The Philadelphia Eagles, Dallas Cowboys, New York Giants, and Washington Commanders. They're all trying to survive the final stretch of the 2025 season. And if we're going to talk about Hard Knocks, we really have to step back and look at what the series has meant to sports storytelling. Because this franchise didn't just capture football. It really invented an entire era of sports docuseries. It debuted on HBO in 2001. And I believe you can go back and listen to my interview with the creator of the series in episode 150. It was that long ago. From day one, it broke the mold. Nobody had ever seen football covered this way. The cameras weren't just on the field. They were in the locker rooms, in position meetings, in the emotional spaces where real careers and real lives unfolded. It was raw, unscripted, and intimate in a way that sports television had never attempted. And what really set the tone early were iconic storylines. Those heartbreaking training camp cuts, bubble players fighting for their football futures, position battles simmering into full-blown rivalries, veterans mentoring rookies or sometimes pushing them out of the way, the pressure on coaches trying to shape a team in 6 short weeks. It felt like reality TV collided with NFL films, cinematic, deeply human, and completely addictive. And from there, Hard Knocks essentially built the blueprint for modern sports docuseries. Number 1, access as storytelling currency. Before Hard Knocks, teams guarded access like classified government files. But once viewers were hooked on behind-the-scenes drama, and once teams realized the PR value, access became the new frontier. So everything from Formula One Drive to Survive to Netflix's Quarterback owes its existence to the access standard that Hard Knocks set. It humanized athletes. Hard Knocks didn't just show players, it introduced them. It turned role players, undrafted rookies, and anonymous camp bodies into household names. It proved fans don't just want highlights. They want stories, families, vulnerabilities, and those tiny off-field moments that make players relatable. Turning seasons into narratives, sports had always been about wins and losses. But Hard Knocks reframed it as arcs, character development, and emotional stakes. It taught producers that an average team with great personalities can be more compelling than an elite team with none. And it created appointment television in a streaming world. For 2 decades, Hard Knocks has remained must-watch TV. That's almost unheard of for a sports documentary series with new installments every year. And it showed networks that there's a massive appetite for serialized, week-to-week storytelling in sports. That's something The Last Dance, Full Swing, and Breakpoint all embraced. And then also the reinvention itself of the in-season. The original formula followed teams throughout training camp, but in 2021, the franchise expanded with Hard Knocks in season, giving fans something that they had never seen before, which was real-time coverage of a team as the season unfolded. That was a huge leap, and the stakes were higher, the emotions sharper, and the story wasn't just wrapped up in August. So this year's NFC East version takes that evolution even further by allowing not just one team, but an entire division chasing the playoffs at the same time. Now let's go back to the season. So we're right in the middle of it. The Dallas Cowboys, the team in which my guest is the producer, is a team in the middle of a true identity shift. The Cowboys enter this week at 6-5-1, sitting second in the NFC East and 9th in the NFC overall. And honestly, this might be one of the most compelling seasons that we've seen from them in years. It's their first season under the new head coach after a frustrating 7-10 finish in 2024. But this year, you can actually feel the resurgence. The tone is different, the energy is different, and the results, at least on offense, show it. The offense is humming. They're averaging over 29 points per game with 351 total points in the season and almost 400 yards of offense every Sunday. Dak Prescott looks sharp, CeCe Lamb is doing CeCe Lamb things. And one of the most exciting storylines has been George Pickens, the emerging star in a contract year who's playing like every game is a professional referendum. It's dynamic, it's explosive, and the kind of football that cameras love. But what makes this team fascinating and what makes them perfect for Hard Knocks is that it is not all polished. It's not all pretty. The defense is still a concern. They've given up 342 points, and every game feels like a test of whether the offense can outrun the mistakes. And they're also struggling on the road at 2-4, which is going to matter if they sneak into the playoffs. And of course, there's that tight division race with the Eagles, which, as you know, are my favorite team. Every NFC East matchup is practically a mini session within the season. But then you look at where they are now, a 3-game win streak, including a huge victory over Kansas City Chiefs. Suddenly, it feels like the momentum is real. You can feel the locker room energy shift, the confidence coming back, the urgency creeping in. And with Hard Knocks cameras around, every little moment, every spark, every conflict, every celebration, it's all being captured. So this is what you need to look forward to when you watch the Cowboys. This is what I want you to look out for. You've got redemption after a disappointing 2024 season, reinvention under new leadership, high-stakes playoff pressure, a shining offense paired with a defense still trying to find its footing, and that dramatic split between home dominance and road struggles. And at the center of it all are the personalities. You've got Dak Prescott, the quarterback, leading through the noise, CeCe Lamb, the superstar weapon, and George Pickens, the breakout player with everything to prove. So you've got a lot going on, and there's a real opportunity here. What I love most about this interview is it's a window into the storytelling. What happens when a producer gets the job? How do you prepare for it? Who do you interview? Who's going to be a star? How much time do you spend in intimate spaces so that you don't push the boundaries and you allow the player or the coach to open up to you? So if you've ever wondered, what is it like to work behind the scenes in a position in the sports field, in the NFL, for a team that are superstars at the most stressful point in the season? What is it like? Well, I've got it for you. Here's my interview with Terrell. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Kate.
Have you always loved football? Where are you from? What was your team growing up?
Yeah, I'm actually a South Jersey guy. Grew up in the Philadelphia area.
Me too.
So I was an Eagle fan growing up. But then I spent a lot of time in Charlotte, North Carolina. So I'm also have a soft spot for the Panthers. So, but always been surrounded around football. So love the sport, love what I do. Doesn't feel like work. So no complaints there.
Well, I think a lot of people will go, oh my gosh, you have a dream job.
Yeah.
How did it happen? Like, what's your first job out of school?
Man, I think just being in the right place at the right time. My dad had a barbecue restaurant. And we would have a lot of the NFL Films executives that would come into the restaurant. And I used to kind of like, I was a cameraman. So I would love to just film anything and everything. And that's where I thought I was going to be. I was like, oh man, maybe I'll be a cameraman in NFL Films. And I just so happened to be lucky where one of the head of production or the camera department came in, and he was a frequent at my dad's restaurant. And he saw my picture and told my dad, hey, have him give me a call. And pretty much the rest is history. He kind of guided me through. His name was Billy Driver, call him Billy D. He's a legend at NFL Films. And I sure do miss him because he definitely guided me and got me into the building. So definitely who you know, as everyone says, it's just the right timing. So I didn't spend my whole career at NFL Films. So I actually came back to NFL Films. But a lot of experience in the industry and work with a lot of great people.
What does your dad think about the career that you went into and the fact that you're with NFL Films?
I mean, he absolutely loves it. I mean, I think first and foremost, he wanted me to follow his dream and being in the hospitality and food industry. But once he realized that no, that wasn't going to happen, he's totally both my mom and dad, very supportive.
Well, you work with so many teams. Is it hard for you to even be a fan of a team anymore, or does it feel like
it is? It is hard to be a fan of the team. I think more so you become a fan of the player that you're building the relationships with. I think that's ultimately what happens. You just want to see that player flourish and do well, whether young, old, whatever point he is in his career. But you just become a big fan of the player that you're working with and that you're building relationships with. So, but I think too, ultimately, whatever team that you are working with, you want to see them do well because you're so embedded with them. You're seeing how coach leads these guys every day and you're saying, wow, each coach has their own style of leading young men and men. It's like, man, I could play for this guy. Or even when I'm leading my crew, I can learn some things from the coach of how he attacks every day. So every coach is different. So, but I think you root for the player more so than a team now, to answer your question.
So when you have access to coaches and players over a period of time, what do you think it would be the most surprising thing people would know? Obviously, as spectators, we see the big paydays. But you get access to like the pain, the discipline, the champion mindset that goes into that.
I think what surprises me is that people probably wouldn't get is how relatable they actually are. The human side of them, where things don't get too big for them, where they're able to kind of remain level-headed in those situations. Even I'm working with the directing out here with the Cowboys as we're doing Hard Knocks NFC East. And, working with Coach Schottenheimer, just learning his routine and just, even though they're on a high having a win streak right now, but just how he's kind of just, he stays right here, stays right here, and had a long conversation with him, in terms of what he learned from his father, Marty Schottenheimer, who coached the Chiefs for a long time. And, how he came into football and wanted to coach and, all of that kind of cool stuff. So each coach has their own story, but just spending time with him and learning his history in the sport is something.
So tell me about the process. You get named to a team and then you head to the city, and then do you do you do interviews with the coaches and the players before you film? Like, what is your process?
Yeah, once it's announced, once it's announced that we're covering the NFC East division, that usually happens sometime in the early spring, when we know what division we're going to cover. It's usually ultimately decided by our executives. Ken Rogers and Keith Costro in the building. They kind of put together a great team of directors and pretty much kind of put us in a position where they think, okay, Terrell, we think you'll do well in Dallas, or we're led by our lead director Steve Trout, who is in Washington. He does a fantastic job. So, but some of us have relationships with the teams and organizations, so that helps too. So sometimes the organization, if you have a relationship with them, it's a no-brainer to say, okay, you know what, you guys, you should be with this team because, the personnel, the front office. It just makes things easier. So normally, once I was assigned, for Dallas, then you're setting up the kind of like the meet and greet. And you're going in, you meet with coach, you meet with the PR staff, and kind of you go in and kind of show them the lay of the land in terms of, what the show will look like, what the day-to-day is going to be, what the ask, what the requests, what we're going to need. And then, by the time you're done that meeting, you're like, oh, wow, this is it. That's the cool thing about, doing the division. The ask are way less than when you cover one team.
I bet.
So it's like, oh man, this is great. So I kind of like this. I like this format better, covering all four teams as opposed to one. So
also the experience must be so different going from one team and your, the prep work, through the season and the post work. Well, this is like everything is so high stakes and high pressure. Does it make it more fun? I'm assuming it's a lot more stressful, but it must fly by.
Oh, time flies. From the moment I sat down with, coach and, the Cowboys, I sat down with them, and I think it was in August. And I said, week 13 is going to be here before you know it. It's going to fly. And sure enough, they were like, wow, this came out of nowhere. But they were awesome. They were prepared. They were ready. I'm lucky. I'm working with the Cowboys, who's used to being in the spotlight, having this stage. So it kind of made things a little more easier, I think, for me. But yeah, it's been fantastic so far.
So do you have the involvement, especially in terms of telling the full story of a team? So do you interview and speak to the owner all the way down to the support staff?
Yeah, I think us at NFL Films, we kind of plan the show halfway.
Yeah,
we halfway plan, and then we let the rest kind of unfold itself. But yeah, yes. I mean, it depends on the team that you're working with. Obviously, with being with the Cowboys, you have Mr. Jones, who is the face of the franchise. So absolutely, he's going to be, him and his family. Are going to be involved. You're going to see the Joneses on this show. So, but yeah, to your point, it could be up from the owner to whatever makes sense. If it's the storyline, it can be anyone. But yes, and also too, the Cowboys are great because they come with their storylines as well. They say, hey, this may help you guys. This is someone that that we think should be featured or should be looked at, and we take that in consideration as well.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. But also paint the picture for us of why this organization is differentiated from other franchises.
I mean, it's the Cowboys.
Yeah. I mean, showman.
The star, right? It shines brighter on these players. Everything is. I mean, I don't want to say everything's bigger here in Texas, but I mean, when you think of Dallas, they're always on prime time, right? They're always playing in that prime spot. They're always playing on Thanksgiving. So I think it just comes down to the owner, Mr. Jones, and his family, and the position he puts his team in. Everyone knows the Cowboys. So, I don't know what more you need to say about that.
Yeah. Okay, so back to choosing the players to spotlight you. It sounds like you've got involvement from their team because they're obviously have relationship with all these players over a period of time, and they may not be on the immediate radar, right? They're not Prescott or Lamb or Pickens or anybody else. Have you found somebody that we're all going to fall in love with?
I think there are a few guys. I think that's the beauty of when you just sit, when you listen to just a lot of the wires that we have on practice. And it's not so much of, guys just, acting funny or wanting to be on camera. You can just kind of truly tell, okay, this guy's passionate about football. You don't need to care about the wire that he's mic'd up or this or that. He's just genuinely, he's a good football player, good dude. And, those are the guys that kind of pop on our radar. And I think you're going to meet some of those guys with the Cowboys and across the series, not just with the Cowboys.
Also, are you mindful that what makes Hard Knocks so extraordinary is that it's because it's tells such personal stories, that there are also a number of people watching that aren't necessarily football fans. They become football fans afterwards, but there are a lot of women in particular who really like those personal stories. So you're making a show that's not just deep into the weeds of football, the business of the sport, but also storytelling.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's a fine line you just kind of mentioned right there, because you have some in our building that really this show is for that fan, that hardcore fan. And I kind of consider myself on the other side of the fence where, I'm trying to attract someone who's never maybe watched football before.
Yeah.
So, the female audience, international audience, but that new fan. They may not be a Cowboy fan. They may not be a Commander or Eagle or Giants fan. So
what's your perspective on capturing not just on-field performance, but the locker room dynamics and off-field personalities?
Well, I kind of like for the locker room, it's cool. I kind of like some kind of, if you have this, I think for me, I don't like to abuse the access. That's number one.
Okay.
The access that we have, I don't, it's not, they give you an inch, don't take a mile.
Yeah.
Right. Like just kind of respect the boundaries. So when you get that time and you're around them, I kind of go in, get the stuff that I need, but then I kind of take my crew and we exit out.
Mm-hmm.
I consider a locker room, that's their safe space. Let their guards come down, let them, relax and they don't need to worry about the cameras and things like that. That's just me in terms of how I operate when I have my crew.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like to take advantage of that time. And even when we do off the fields with players and they allow us to come into their homes, you have a lot of guys that are very, very private. And I get that in terms of not wanting television, cameras coming into their homes or production crews coming into their homes and things like that. So I take all of that into consideration. So when I do get the access with these guys, I keep that time very, very limited. Telling the crew, hey, we're going to go in there, we're going to do this, and that, and we're going to get out and keep those no longer. I try not to be in the player's home no longer than 30 minutes, to be honest with you.
Also because they have this enormous pressure and you don't want to feel like I was draining their battery when they have to go out to the field and perform.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So, and I think honestly, I think it really does. It goes a long way. They see that, they recognize it, and they're like, okay. And that's why they continue to, not open up, but continue to, grant the access or some guys can shut it down. Just say, no, I'm good. I don't need to do that anymore.
There is on this team a defensive and offensive contrast. Are you going to be covering it 50-50?
That's a good question. That's. I think it's more in line with how the story kind of unfolds and plays. Yeah, and it's not totally my decision. So we have a great staff back at NFL Films that sits down and they watch the material and see. They're the ones that really kind of see, okay, how it unfolds. Even though I am here on the front lines and I see it firsthand, I can give my take. But the story has to make sense. So back home they do a phenomenal job with weaving things together and making sure it all makes sense. So,
what is it like to be witness to a fast-moving operation like you're getting? Does it make you feel more empathy for these coaches? Does it make you feel like you could coach? I mean, what is that like?
No. I think sometimes even my camera guys, they may look at it and say, oh man, I could do this. And I'm like, no, you can't. No, you can't. There's not one moment where I'm like, I think that I could do this. Never, ever. It's such a hard job. And yes, I do feel for these guys. And I don't say I feel for these guys because they love what they do. Right. This is all they love being around the game of football, and this is their passion, and they're in the building all day, every day. So no, I mean, I want to say I feel empathy for them. It's more so, and I don't want to say envy either because I love what I do. So some people can look at it as like, okay, it's an envy. They get to go out there and do what they love, and I'm doing the same thing every day.
Yeah.
So,
for all the little kids that dream of working in sports or working in the NFL or working for the Dallas Cowboys, what can you tell them about the kind of work it takes to be exceptional at that level?
Here in Texas, I mean, this is all it is football. I mean, you see it over at the Star, all the games just at the high school. I mean, even probably at the youth level of how important it is. So I mean, I think not just Texas, but every kid who dreams of playing is just going to continue to play the game. So those who love it are going to be coached by the right people, and if you're good, you're going to be put in an opportunity to make it to the next level. So.
Now, you said when you go into someone's home in particular that you don't try to overstay your welcome. 30 minutes. How do you do that on the field? I mean, you're witness to some really high pressure situations. There's a high level of stress.
Yeah.
How do you film and know when to kind of back off?
Back off. Yeah. That's a good question. You do tense it, you can feel it. So there are moments if a QB, throws interception, someone fumbles, defense gives up a big touchdown. You sense it, but at the same time, you have a job to do.
Mm-hmm.
You have to get that, a little of that content, and I call it the meat. So you got to get a little bit of the meat, and then you can back off. No sense of living there because they fill the camera, and all it's going to do is just make things worse moving forward. You got to be with these guys, so you need to kind of respect it. And I think at the same time they respect and know that, hey, I know that these guys have a job they have to do. But that's what I mean with not overstaying the welcome. So, and I'm primarily behind the bench.
Mm-hmm.
I like that's my position with the bench camera. So getting the content with those guys, don't abuse it. Get what we need, get those moments, and then get out of there.
Yeah,
you don't want to overstay that welcome.
What do you want people to know about like the Terrell Riley stamp?
The stamp.
Whether it's this, following this team or any other team, like what do you want people to know is the most important thing to you as a filmmaker?
For me as a filmmaker, I enjoy building their relationships, and I hope that comes across on screen.
Mm-hmm.
That I can have these guys be themselves and just be able to have a conversation with me, whether it's sitting down in the interviews or just granting me this access to come here. See, I think when you see the access, I want people to say, okay, whoever's working with him, they trust him, right?
Mm-hmm.
They enjoy working with him. So, I'm just pretty much that vessel in between the player and the viewer. If I can say that, it's the trust. It's going in there and building the trust with the players, the organization, and knowing that I'm going to put them in the right light, and that the viewer is able to see that and the true self. So,
well, this is going to be a very fast-paced project for you, and I can only imagine the amount of excitement going on behind the scenes with your crew. And I want to say thank you for the work that you do to make this such an even more exciting experience for everybody who loves the sport of football, but people who just like great sports storytelling. I know how much you guys work. You leave your homes, you leave your families.
Yeah.
And it's just an extension of the work that we see on the field. And you're not forgotten about. I know, a lot of you just went through the holiday. Maybe you're away from your families. And I want to say I appreciate it. And I know how much work you put into it.
Thank you. I think, all the crew that we have out here, we really appreciate their work and their dedication working through the holidays. We're talking Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, that these guys and guys and girls are out here working with us. So, I appreciate it. I appreciate the crew that's working with me because it's not just me. It's definitely, we have a fantastic team that's out there. There's a fantastic 4 crews in each city that are doing a wonderful job. So hopefully I want everyone to enjoy the show and enjoy the NFC East.
Now, my last question is, the cheerleaders are also so iconic.
Yes.
Are they getting the respect that they deserve too?
They will on this show. Yeah.
Good.
They will. Absolutely. Yes.
Great.
It's actually, we have to double up because, they're doing the show cheerleaders with them too. So we have to kind of figure out, what we're able to kind of film with them and not impose on what's already being captured with them. So, but I mean, yes, working with the Cowboys, you got to feature the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders, right?
And it's true at like peak athleticism.
Yes.
In both cases.
Yeah.
Well, everybody can watch Hard Knocks starting December 2nd, and we are excited to see the work that you are going to do with your team. And I want to thank you again for the opportunity to chat about it.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me on. I'm so excited. I think this is going to be a great series, and I think the fans won't be disappointed. So. And I hope we can get some new fans as they watch.
Well, I'll be watching even though I'm a diehard Eagles fan. So you've got one already. Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Just don't fast forward. Don't fast forward.
Just no.
You got to watch the whole show.
Whole show. Okay, great.
The amazing Kate Casey.
I want to thank my great guest and remind you to make sure that you click subscribe. Please make sure that you leave a 5-star review and check out the weekly What to Watch list. I'm going to tell you what to watch each week in unscripted TV, which in many cases includes sports documentaries. Go to katecasey.substack.com. Join the Facebook group Reality Life with Kate Casey. Check out the bonus episodes, which are on Apple Podcast and on Patreon at patreon.com/Kate Casey. Also, an upcoming special limited series with Mary Payne, and that's going to be called Tell Me Everything. And every week we go back and forth with crazy stories. And lastly, make sure that you follow me on social media. I'm on Instagram at KKCCA, TikTok, it's KKC, and Twitter, Threads, and Blue Sky at KKC. Check back tomorrow for an all-new episode.